Hi everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with me and for sitting down to talk tarot a little bit. It's definitely been something that I have not been focusing on very much in my life, and I feel ready to get back into tarot. This happens to me from time to time as a tarot reader where I just need a break for a few months. This has definitely been my longest break from the cards. I have been shuffling and enjoying my decks, but I have not really been reading publicly or sharing about tarot publicly for a long time. I was just starting to feel a little bit of burnout and just having other priorities and things happening that you guys know what it's like as life likes to throw things at you, you sometimes have to make sacrifices. So tarot was one of them, but life has been throwing tarot back at me quite a bit. I've been asked to do some parties and some private readings, and I'm getting back into the swing of things, I guess, which is really, really, really nice. And it made me want to start doing lessons again. I received an awesome message from a gal on Instagram. I'm just gonna call you Little Guppy. And she really inspired me today about doing more videos. She had said that they had helped her, and that meant a lot to me because that's what I want these lessons to do. I want them to help people who are just starting to learn tarot. I don't want you to be intimidated. It's time consuming, and you should be learning beyond even these lessons. You should definitely try to soak in as much information as you can, but it really isn't hard to learn. You just have to learn how to trust yourself, and that's probably the hardest part. Anyways, without any further ado, my friends, let's get started. Today we're going to talk about, I'm hoping to maybe do 2 to 3 major arcana cards per video. We'll see how it goes. I don't really have a plan, but we'll start with the Fool, and I'm going to just share with you a book. So this is a book that I've been working on for a long time, and it's the tarot cards. I've written them out, what they mean to me, different symbols on the cards that stand out, or symbols that when I'm reading I always kind of draw a blank on, so I've added them in here as well. This is something that I've been working on for a pretty long time. I've taken a break from it. It's nowhere near completed, as you can see. Work in progress, but I thought that it would be helpful to have these notes here as we talk about the different cards, and I kind of wanted to show you my book that I've done. I really do recommend that you start some form of tarot journal, or you start writing down your personal interpretations of the cards. It'll be really beneficial to you all throughout your tarot experience. We're going to begin today with the Fool, and these are the amazing large style Rider-Waite cards that my friend Lisa had gifted me that I'm just in love with, and they're going to be perfect for these kind of lessons because you can really see the different little symbols and things we need to be looking for on the cards. It really stands out, so they're perfect for this. As always, it's about your intuition. It is about what you feel. So when you read the word the Fool, or you see the dog or the person on the card, what comes to your mind initially? What do you immediately think about? What does 0 mean to you? Is 0 the beginning or the end? Some tarot decks, it's placed at the end. Others, it's placed at the beginning. Some readers like to see it after the world. I personally like it at the beginning because to me, the major arcana really is the Fool's journey. And then it just kind of keeps going back to 0. But anyways, 0 is a really interesting number, and it's something to consider. Do you think of it as the beginning or the end? Or is it a little bit of both? When you look at what this figure is wearing, what do you think about? What does this white rose mean to you? What comes to mind when you think about white roses, or the dog, or the sun? Look at the colors on the card. There's a lot of yellow here. What does the color yellow mean to you? How do you feel when you see so much bright yellow kind of in your face? He's also, you can see the cliff here, and he's all like, la la la, having a good time, going for a walk. Basically, he reminds me of myself. He's having fun. He's not paying any attention. His little dog friend is like, buddy, you're gonna fall off the friggin' cliff, like, pay attention. And he's just like, la la la, it's a beautiful day, do. So does that give you a sense of alarm? Or like, is your head in the clouds a little bit too much and you're not paying attention to reality? In a love reading, it could be someone who isn't seeing the negative faults of the person that they're dating maybe, and they're only seeing the good, and it could be in a dangerous situation. Or with a job, maybe you're acting, you're a little out of control, you know, you're not paying attention, and you might be about to get a rude awakening. Is there someone in your life who's been like at you all the time? Hey, like pay attention, or I have a feeling about this, and you're not listening to them. All of those things, think about those things. It's kind of like having your head in the clouds, you know, you're just kind of walking around having a good time. So a couple of symbols, and this is why I have my book here, is to help me. I'm terrible at remembering symbols sometimes, so I have this as a backup. But the white rose, of course, white roses are like innocence, and the Fool is innocent because it's the beginning of a journey. And the little hobo bag, that's like movement. That's constantly on the go, a sense of wondering, or a sense of, you know, a little wanderlust going on. So they're kind of to get you thinking, maybe it's someone who is too quick to start a new adventure, or too quick to, maybe in a relationship, they're a little too quick to kind of end things instead of working them through. Stuff like that. So that's my personal interpretation, how I feel about the card. You may feel completely different. I thought it would be fun to take a boo at the reference book as well and see what they say and see kind of how close we are with that card. So in the book, let's see, the Fool: folly, mania, extravagance, intoxication, delirium, frenzy, bewrayment, and then reverse, negligence, absence, distribution, carelessness. So it's kind of a lot of the same kind of vibes that when we talk about it, kind of that come up. And to be honest, I think I may have read through this book once. It's more important how you feel about your cards than what the book says. But I think a lot of times you'll be surprised to see that your intuitive initial reactions are pretty much in line with the descriptions in the books. Another interesting thing about the Rider-Waite, and why I think it's really, really good idea for you to study on the Rider-Waite or something similar, is that you may notice that other decks will have similar kind of imagery, and it's kind of like, if you can read the Rider-Waite, you can probably read other decks. And an example of one that's very similar is the Tarot in Wonderland, or Wonderland in Tarot deck by Barbara Moore. And in this card are full, of course, this beautiful, wonderful Alice, and she's being warned by, maybe that's the Cheshire Cat, or maybe it's a cat at home, but she's being warned by something. Don't act carelessly, pay attention to where you're going, because of course she's about to go into the rabbit hole. So very similar. We have our character, innocent character. Look at the difference in the size. Like, these are, I love these big cards. Innocent character, kind of off having fun, enjoying herself. The beloved friend or the pet who's someone's looking out for you. Pay attention, and a little bit of danger. So be cautious. We've got mountains back here for the Fool and a beautiful river for Alice. And I think that both of them, where this one's so pointy, again, the danger, you're in uneven terrain. And with this, there's a little bit of danger with that water. So that's just kind of to show you. And then another one, mostly because I can't wait for Game of Thrones. But with the Game of Thrones tarot, our Fool is Tyrion, and it's kind of, again, that danger is happening. The dragon's behind him. He is walking into these sharp teeth, you know. He's not in a safe place in his book. Kind of pay attention. This is not so much a Rider-Waite clone as other decks, but I thought it would be fun for you to see different interpretations of these cards. So that is kind of the Fool. And I think that due to the length of this video, we will do one more, and I guess I will be doing them probably 2 cards at a time, because I don't want these to get too long. Next up, we have the Magician. I love the Magician. I think this card I always see this as us as beginner tarot readers or experienced tarot readers. You're on a journey, you're on a magical journey, and you're just getting your supplies ready and you're getting prepared. The Magician is also kind of like your internal cheerleader. The Magician has all the tools here laid out on the table, basically saying you have all the tools you need to accomplish what you want. So you need to just start doing it. Like, it's kind of the get off your ass card. And he's pushing you and saying, stop making excuses. You have the ability to do it. You can make things happen. Infinity up here. It serves as a reminder that there's no end, and all ends kind of lead to new beginnings. So if you have to make a big change in your life, yes, there's going to be an ending, but something new will come of it. So don't be afraid. It's time to move forward. Lots of beautiful flowers, lots of love around the Magician, lots and lots of love. So there's a lot of support there. Support for growth and support for you to kind of get into control. The lilies are your inspiration and believing in yourself. Lilies are, innocence and just they bright up a room. They're in funeral homes to kind of bring a little bit of happiness and to bring the sense of peace. So they're here kind of the same, to bring peace. The 4 elements are represented, saying that maybe you've got a nice balance in your life. You've got your feet are on the ground and you really have done the research, so why not go for it? Take the leap. The hands, the raised wand, as above and so below, being connected to the spirit world or being connected to the other side, but also being grounded and having your feet on the ground and you're not living up in the clouds. So much to look into and dive into with this card. There's also, of course, the snake eating its tail, another representation of infinity, of everything kind of always moving forward and endings becoming new beginnings. I really, really like this card. And then, I don't think I'll read from this book for all of them, but just to see kind of what the card or what the book says. Skill, diplomacy, address, sickness, pain, loss, disaster. So that could be that loss of control. So say, for example, your Magician was surrounded by maybe the 9 of Swords or the 3 of Swords or the 5 of Pentacles. There could be some disaster happening. You're losing control. So I can totally see that. Representing a man or a male. Yeah, sure. We have the High Priestess, of course, representing us beautiful women. And of course, our men get the beautiful and gorgeous and handsome Magician. So I hope that you liked that card. I like that card myself. For our Game of Thrones tarot, which again, some cards do reflect the traditional tarot a little bit better than others. I don't really get this one a whole lot. We do see the chalice, the sword, the pentacle, and maybe this is the wand, I suppose, and the dagger is the sword. So we do have the 4 elements represented. We also have, I don't know if I would call him necessarily a magician type character. He's a little bit more sneaky to me, more of a devil type character maybe, but he does make things happen. He's a business owner, if you will, things like this. So he's kind of a magician like character. And then we have our Alice in Wonderland tarot, where it's really a very clear representation or balance with the Rider-Waite. We have our 4 elements represented, like on the table. We have our as above, so below going on with all of his little arms. We have the 4 elements represented again here. Lots of vegetation around him, very similar to this card. We've got the tall trees. So there's a lot that you can look into and see as similarities between these two. And it's just, again, if you can read these guys, you can pretty much read any tarot deck. So never feel intimidated about learning new decks. Really, once you get a good foundation deck, you'll be able to pick up on other ones really easily. I'm going to mix it up, of course, through our lessons of the different tarot decks that I show you to compare with our ones we're talking about. So it won't always be Game of Thrones or Alice. We'll have some different guides, but we'll always have the Rider-Waite. So if you don't already have one, I would recommend getting one. Of course, you can learn on any deck, but this one is a great foundation. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking tarot. It's been so nice and it's been way too long, and I hope that you have an amazing day. And if you're local, I hope that you're out at the St. John Pagans Coffee Night at Starbucks over on the east side by Home Depot. Have an amazing night, and I hope that you just enjoy your cards, and happy learning. Bye.